So you think your Beanie Baby empire was an exercise in financial genius? Cute. We're about to drag 49 American collections, kicking and screaming, into the harsh light of day. Items so profoundly weird, they make your aunt's porcelain doll army look like a sound investment strategy. Abandon all hope of normalcy, ye who enter here. 1. Airline barf bags. You thought your uncle's spoon collection was weird? Hold my beer. Or in this case, hold my pristine, unused airline barf bag. That's right, some intrepid individuals navigate the skies of strange hobbies by amassing vast collections of these paper receptacles of regret. They hunt for different airline logos, from glamorous legacy carriers to those sketchy budget airlines where the bag itself feels like a luxury. Imagine the sheer collector's glee. Oh, a 1970s Lufthansa, mint condition. It's not about remembering a particularly bumpy flight. It's about the art, the history, the sheer, unadulterated weirdness of cherishing an item whose sole purpose is to catch your lunch on its return journey. Truly a hobby that whispers, "I've stared into the abyss, and the abyss handed me a paper bag." 2. Unusual ice cube trays. Forget your boring square ice. That's for quitters. Today's discerning collector, demands ice shaped like a tiny army of rubber duckies, the Titanic, too soon, or perhaps internal organs for that extra touch of Hannibal Lecter chic at their dinner parties. Those charmingly infuriating aluminum trays from the 50s, the ones that practically required a jackhammer to release a cube, are now hot commodities. It's not just about cooling your drink, it's about making a statement. A statement that screams, "My freezer is a chaotic art installation, and I might have too much time on my hands." What's next? Artisanal air? 3. Vintage carnival prizes. The sweet scent of disappointment and lead-based paint. Collectors are mad for those glorious, slightly terrifying prizes from mid-century carnivals. Think plush toys with eyes that bore into your soul, tin contraptions that promised acrobatic feats, but mostly just wobbled sadly, or glassware so tacky it becomes high art. Each item is a monument to dashed hopes and the universal truth that the ball toss was always rigged. Some collectors even specialize by region, essentially curating a museum of localized childhood trauma. You haven't lived until you've seen a grown adult weep over a chipped ceramic poodle won at the 1967 Iowa State Fair. 4. Vintage alarm clocks. Remember a time before your phone gently serenaded you into consciousness? A darker time ruled by tyrannical bedside boxes known as alarm clocks? Well, some people collect these instruments of sonic warfare. We're talking mid-century marvels with faces like psychedelic suns, or ancient wind-up demons topped with bells loud enough to summon eldritch horrors from beneath your bed. These aren't just timepieces. They're historical artifacts of mourning misery. The appeal? Perhaps it's the satisfying, almost threatening tick-tock. Or maybe it's a primal urge to own the very things that once shattered their REM cycles. It's like collecting your old bullies. 5. Old cameras and film rolls. In an age where your phone has more megapixels than a small observatory, some folks are going back to basics. Real, hefty, I could bludgeon a burglar with this cameras. Brands like Kodak and Leica, relics from a time when photography required more than just a thumb, are prime collector's items. But here's the kicker, the real Indiana Jones moment. Sometimes these dusty treasures still have undeveloped film inside. Imagine, you could be holding lost family portraits, a spy's clandestine shots, or, more likely, 72 blurry photos of someone's cat. It's a gamble. A photographic mystery box where the prize could be priceless memories or just proof that Uncle Herbert really couldn't hold a camera still. 6. Belly button. Lint. Forget gold or priceless art. For a select group of individuals, the real treasure lies within. We're talking about belly button lint, meticulously harvested and cataloged, perhaps by date, color, or even the contributing meal that spawned its fibrous glory. Imagine tiny vials, each labeled Tuesday post-chili or Weekend too much blue cheese. These aren't just random fluff balls, they are intimate personal archives of one's own naval narrative. It's a hobby that truly asks, what secrets does my umbilicus hold? and isn't afraid of the slightly gross answer. Some might even arrange it by shade, creating a disturbingly organic rainbow. 7. Vintage firefighter helmets. Forget superhero capes. Some people prefer their symbols of bravery to be made of leather, brass, or composite materials, and smelling faintly of smoke and heroism. Collecting vintage firefighter helmets is a serious pursuit, with enthusiasts admiring the craftsmanship and the regional variations, because apparently, how you protect your head from falling embers in Boston is vastly different from how you do it in Boise. Some collectors even restore these battle-worn headpieces to their former glory, transforming them from historical artifacts into gleaming, if slightly impractical, home deo. 8. Vintage dentures. Move over, rare stamps and antique coins. The real treasures for a select few are other people's old teeth. Yes, vintage dentures are a thing and collectors are snapping them up. These aren't just discarded choppers. They're historical artifacts showcasing the fascinating and sometimes horrifying evolution of dental technology. From porcelain pearly whites to sets featuring actual gold teeth. Because nothing says, "I've made it," like a gilded grin, even posthumously. Displaying someone else's chompers in your home? It's a bold interior design choice that certainly tells your guests something. Probably that they should check their own teeth before leaving. 9. Miniature perfume bottles. For those who believe good things come in small packages and possibly smell overwhelmingly of jasmine and regret, there's the world of miniature perfume bottle collecting. These tiny vials are often exquisite works of art, shaped like swans, stilettos, or abstract blobs that defy description. Collectors hunt for rare editions from forgotten fragrance empires, and here's the kicker. Sometimes the bottle itself is worth far more than the thimbleful of ancient scent it once contained. It's like collecting tiny, beautiful, and occasionally sticky glass sculptures that whisper tales of boudoir and bad decisions from decades past. 10. Self-published poetry books with terribly awkward cover photos. While some chase literary giants, others delve into the murky, often hilarious depths of self-published poetry. The real prize isn't necessarily the verse within, which can range from surprisingly profound to "Did a cat walk across the keyboard?" but the covers. Oh, the covers! Think amateurish portraits with intense, thousand-yard stares, unfortunate font choices, or symbolic imagery so obscure it circles back to being accidentally brilliant. These books are monuments to unbridled ambition and, occasionally, a complete lack of self-awareness. Each one is a treasure trove of cringe and unexpected pathos. 11. Obsolete medical tools. If you think modern medicine is scary, wait until you see the collectibles from its good old days. We're talking about antique medical instruments, gleaming glass syringes that look suspiciously large, brass stethoscopes that probably heard more gurgles than heartbeats, and other assorted pokers and prodders that would make a medieval torturer nod in appreciation. Collectors are fascinated by the craftsmanship and the sheer terrifying history behind these items. Imagine the stories these tools could tell. Actually, on second thought, maybe don't. Some rare pieces fetch a pretty penny, proving that one person's nightmare fuel is another person's prized possession. 12. Bar coasters. While most of us see bar coasters as temporary shields against beverage condensation, some enlightened individuals see them as miniature canvases of cultural history. Collecting vintage bar coasters is a surprisingly dedicated hobby. Enthusiasts hunt for those little cardboard squares emblazoned with quirky graphics from defunct breweries, witty slogans from legendary dive bars, or the logos of speakeasies your grandparents probably got arrested in. Each coaster tells a tiny, beer-soaked story. It's a cheap and cheerful way to accumulate hundreds of items that collectively scream, "I've spent a significant portion of my life in establishments that serve alcohol." 13. Dead plant arrangements. Just when you thought you'd heard it all, there are people who actively collect and arrange dead plants. And we're not just talking about your standard dried flowers that look vaguely depressing in a vase. Oh no. These connoisseurs of decay create artful displays from desiccated cacti that have given up the ghost, bonsai trees that have shuffled off their mortal coil, and even artistically arranged grass clippings. It's like Mother Nature's way of saying, I'm not quite finished being weird yet? This hobby takes low maintenance to a whole new posthumous level. Next up, collecting dust bunnies and calling it domestic fiber art. 14. Matchbooks. Before lighters became disposable and smoking became a social pariah, matchbooks were the tiny, flammable billboards of society. Collectors hoard these miniature masterpieces of bygone eras, featuring vibrant logos from restaurants where the food poisoning was legendary, hotels with questionable hourly rates, and events you'd only admit to attending under duress. Each one is a papery portal to a time when striking a match felt vaguely rebellious, and setting fire to things was still considered a viable form of entertainment by some. It's a collection that literally plays with fire, or at least the potential for it. 15. Old concert tickets. For music obsessives, an old concert ticket isn't just a faded piece of cardstock. It's a holy relic, a tangible sliver of a night where their ears bled and their vocal cords snapped. We're talking stubs from Woodstock, where the mud was probably more memorable than half the bands, or early Beatles shows before the screaming drowned out the actual music. These aren't souvenirs, they're battle scars, proof you were there. And some of these, especially from historically significant moments of musical genius or utter chaos, can fetch prices that would make your current concert budget weep. Because nostalgia, apparently, is a very expensive drug. 16. Vintage snow globes. Is there anything more whimsically pointless than a tiny artificial blizzard trapped forever within a glass dome? Collectors of vintage snow globes would argue, probably quite fiercely, that there is not. They hunt for rare globes depicting specific cities before they became soulless tourist traps or commemorating events that no one else remembers. Each shake is a tiny glittery trip down a memory lane paved with plastic snowflakes and questionable craftsmanship. It's the ultimate nostalgic souvenir for people who enjoy looking at things that don't actually do anything, except gather dust with a quiet, glass-encased dignity. 17. Movie ticket stubs. In an age of digital confirmations, the humble movie ticket stub has become an artifact of a more civilized, or at least more paper-filled era. Fans of specific actors, directors, or films that probably only they and 6 other people have ever seen meticulously save these flimsy receipts of cinematic pilgrimage. Imagine the thrill of unearthing a stub from the original Star Wars premiere, a tiny testament to a time before Jar Jar Binks. Some of these can be worth actual money, proving that even your garbage can be someone else's treasure, especially if that garbage witnessed cinematic history, or just a really bad rom-com. 18. Gas station signs. Nothing screams America quite like a giant rusting sign that once promised cheap gas and questionable coffee. Collectors of vintage gas station signs are preserving a piece of roadside Americana, often featuring bold neon that hums with the ghosts of cross-country road trips, or logos from companies like Texaco or Sinclair that are now just footnotes in fossil fuel history. These behemoths evoke a powerful nostalgia, and people will pay thousands to mount a slice of this automotive golden age in their homes, presumably to remind themselves of a time when filling up didn't require a second mortgage. 19. Clown shoes. Just when you thought hobbies couldn't get any more specific or unsettling, enter the world of clown shoe collecting. Yes, those massive, brightly colored, often terrifyingly oversized pieces of footwear. Some enthusiasts hunt for shoes actually worn by famous circus performers. Imagine the stories and the foot odor embedded in that leather. Others simply revel in the sheer, unadulterated, playful absurdity of owning something so inherently ridiculous. It's a collection that guarantees you'll never be invited to a minimalist dinner party, and frankly, that's probably a good thing. Your ankles will thank you. 20. Celebrity autographs on random objects. Why get a celebrity to sign a boring old photograph when you can get them to immortalize their John Hancock on a rusty hubcap, a half-eaten sandwich, or perhaps a live badger? Though customs might object to that last one. Some collectors believe the more bizarre the canvas, the more precious the autograph. Imagine proudly displaying a frying pan signed by a bewildered A-lister. It's a testament to persistence, a monument to awkward encounters, and proof that fame makes people agree to very strange requests. The stranger the item, the more legendary the acquisition story. 21. Decoy ducks. Originally crafted as cunning avian charlatans to lure unsuspecting waterfowl to their doom, these wooden ducks have found a second life as highly prized folk art. Hand-carved and meticulously painted, some of these decoys are so beautiful you'd almost feel bad about actually using them to, deceive ducks. Collectors pay staggering sums for rare examples by renowned carvers, appreciating the craftsmanship and the rustic charm. It's a hobby where something designed for utilitarian trickery becomes a symbol of artistic achievement. The ducks, presumably, are still not amused. 22. Cereal boxes. Forget the nutritional content, or lack thereof. It's the cardboard sarcophagus that truly matters to some. Collectors of vintage cereal boxes are preserving vibrant pieces of pop culture history, one sugary advertisement at a time. From limited edition runs featuring cartoon characters that now look vaguely horrifying, to boxes hawking discontinued flavors that probably tasted like chemical regret. Each one is a time capsule. And the truly dedicated? They keep the ancient, possibly fossilized cereal still sealed inside for authenticity. Because nothing says valuable collectible like a box of 30-year-old Sugar Puffs. 23. Vintage vinyl records with odd covers. Sure, the music on a vintage vinyl record is important, but for a certain breed of collector, it's all about judging a book, or rather, an album, by its cover. And the weirder, the better. We're talking psychedelic nightmares, inexplicably bizarre staged photographs, or artwork so amateurish it becomes a masterpiece of unintentional comedy. These album covers tell a story before the needle even drops, often a story involving questionable artistic choices and a lot of hair. Rare records with truly unhinged covers can command serious cash, proving that bad taste, when aged properly, can become incredibly valuable. 24. Old advertising signs. Long before targeted online ads stalked your every digital move, businesses relied on bold, beautiful, and often ridiculously oversized signs to lure in customers. Collectors now hunt these relics of a bygone commercial age. Porcelain paeans to Coca-Cola, neon testaments to Pepsi, or sturdy metal declarations for Ford. Once common street furniture, these signs are now nostalgic slices of Americana, fetching prices at auction that would make the original sign makers weep with joy, or possibly confusion. It's amazing what people will pay to own a piece of yesterday's marketing budget. 25. Antique hairbrushes. While most of us consider a hairbrush a purely functional item, best hidden away when not detangling our matted locks, some see them as elegant artifacts. Antique hairbrushes, often crafted from silver or ivory, elephants, boasting ornate handles with intricate floral carvings or distinguished monograms, have a dedicated following. These aren't just tools. They're tiny sculptures from the Victorian and Edwardian eras, whispering tales of elaborate coiffures in a time when personal grooming was an art form, not just a 5-minute battle before work. Just try not to think too hard about the ancient dandruff. 26. Postcards with unique postmarks. For some, a postcard is just a flimsy piece of card you send when you're too lazy to write a proper letter. But for the discerning collector, it's the postmark that transforms it from a mere souvenir into a historical document. They obsess over unusual cancellations, rare stamps from defunct micronations, or postmarks celebrating fleeting historical events like the launch of a space mission or the opening of a particularly ambitious turnip festival. It's filletly with a pictorial twist, proving that even the mundane act of mailing something can be elevated to an art form, or at least a very niche obsession. 27. Retro arcade tokens. Remember the satisfying clink of a token dropping into a Pac-Man machine, promising minutes of pixelated glory? While arcades themselves are a dying breed, their currency lives on as cherished collectibles. Each token, stamped with the unique logo of a long-gone video game emporium or a sticky-floored skee-ball palace, is a miniature monument to misspent youth and rapidly developing carpal tunnel syndrome. Some rare tokens from defunct arcades can actually fetch surprising prices online, proving that nostalgia for beeping sounds and joystick calluses is a powerful economic force. 28. VHS tapes of obscure movies. In a world of instant streaming and 4K resolution, There exists a defiant subculture that worships at the altar of the chunky, unreliable VHS tape. These collectors aren't hunting for Hollywood blockbusters. Oh no, they crave the forgotten B-movies, the straight-to-video schlock, and especially the rare, uncut horror films with cover art so gruesome it would give your grandma a heart attack. There's a certain gritty charm to tracking static and rewinding for an hour. For these enthusiasts, it's not just watching a movie, it's an archaeological dig into the weirdest, most wonderful trash cinema ever committed to magnetic tape. 29. Alien-themed memorabilia. Whether you're a true believer or just enjoy a good conspiracy, there's no denying the allure of the extraterrestrial. Collectors of alien-themed memorabilia amass everything from Roswell crash site souvenirs, probably just gravel from Nevada, to Area 51, authorized personnel only. Mugs they definitely weren't authorized to have. Little green men, figurines, flying saucer ashtrays, tinfoil hats, for authenticity, of course. It all goes into the collection. Some even claim their hordes of alien kitsch are irrefutable proof that we are not alone. The truth might be out there, but the really weird stuff is definitely in their display cabinets. 30. Spoons allegedly bent by psychic powers. Move over, Uri Geller. There's a whole legion of collectors convinced their cutlery has been communing with the great beyond, or at least had a wrestling match with a poltergeist. These aren't just any bent spoons. These are spoons with stories, allegedly warped by sheer mental force, telekinetic toddlers, or perhaps just an unfortunate incident involving a very dense ice cream carton. Collectors display these twisted utensils with pride, each contortion a testament to unseen energies or a really clumsy dinner guest. It's a hobby that blurs the line between the paranormal and needing stronger silverware. 31. Vintage kitchen utensils. Before your food processor did everything but tuck you into bed, kitchens were battlegrounds of manual labor, armed with wonderfully clunky utensils. Collectors now lovingly hoard these relics. Egg beaters that required Herculean effort, butter churns that were basically a full-body workout, and manual coffee grinders that ensured your morning brew came with a side of forearm strain. Often crafted from cast iron or wood so sturdy it could survive a direct meteor impact, these tools are a charming, if slightly terrifying glimpse into a simpler, more exhausting culinary past. Perfect for display or for when your smart whisk finally achieves sentience and rebels. 32. Polaroid cameras. Remember the magic of shaking a photo and watching an image slowly, often disappointingly, emerge? Polaroid cameras, those chunky harbingers of instant, and often blurry, gratification from the 70s and 80s, are back with a vengeance. Collectors are mad for them, especially rare models and colors that would make a flamingo jealous. It's a nostalgic nod to a time when you couldn't just delete 50 selfies until you got the perfect one. Each click was a commitment, a gamble, and often a glorious, overexposed mess. The film might cost more than your weekly groceries, but who cares when you look that retro? 33. Obsolete currency. Your modern money might buy you stuff, but for some collectors, it's the cash that's no longer worth a damn that truly holds value. We're talking coins and bills phased out of circulation, but the real aficionados delve deeper into the quirky underbelly of economic history. Wooden nickels from some long-forgotten town festival, Confederate bills that are now just very flammable paper, or emergency currency printed on playing cards. Each piece is a tiny, tangible lesson in how economies rise, fall, and occasionally just get really, really weird. It's like collecting ghosts of transactions past. 34. Hotel towels and bathrobes. Let's be honest, we've all been tempted. But some people take accidental souvenir acquisition to a whole new level by actively collecting branded towels and bathrobes from luxury hotels. Forget discreetly slipping a tiny shampoo into your luggage. These folks are aiming for the full terry cloth ensemble. Items from high-end establishments like the Ritz-Carlton or the Waldorf Astoria, often boasting distinctive logos and a thread count higher than your credit score, are prized. Are they symbols of opulence or just incredibly cheeky, fluffy trophies of minor larceny? You decide. 35. Airplane safety cards. While most of us use these laminated guides to impending doom as makeshift fans or something to idly doodle on, a select few see them as artistic and historical treasures. Collectors of airplane safety cards cherish them as snapshots of airline branding, graphic design evolution, and the ever-optimistic belief that you can, indeed, use your seat cushion as a flotation device. Each card is a tiny, illustrated instruction manual for a bygone era of travel, often featuring hairstyles and fashion choices as terrifying as any emergency landing. Rare versions can sell for sums that could probably buy you an actual flight. 36. Dead bugs. Encased in resin. Just when you thought taxidermy was the peak of creepy animal preservation, along come dead bugs suspended in clear, shiny resin. These aren't just the unfortunate casualties of your windshield. Collectors seek out perfectly preserved scorpions, iridescent beetles, and delicate butterflies transformed into permanent, glossy paperweights. The most valuable pieces feature rare or exotic species, making them a curious cocktail of natural history, morbid art, and something that will definitely make your house guests question your sanity. Oh, this? Just a giant Amazonian spider, forever frozen in its prime. Lovely, isn't it? 37. Theme park tickets. For those who believe happiness can be bought, and often comes with a long queue and an overpriced churro, old theme park tickets are pure gold. Tickets from legendary dream factories like Disneyland, especially the coveted e-tickets from the 50s and 60s that granted access to the really good rides, are a collector's holy grail. Some enthusiasts even hunt down ultra-rare tickets from one-time special events or the chaotic opening days of now-defunct parks. It's a tangible piece of manufactured joy, a reminder of a time when magic felt a little more analog and a lot more expensive. 38. Celebrity hair locks. Autographs? Too mainstream. For the truly devoted or perhaps just deeply unsettling fan, nothing says, "I appreciate your work," like owning a snippet of their actual DNA. Yes, people collect locks of celebrity hair. Imagine paying tens of thousands of dollars for a few strands from Elvis Presley's legendary coif, or perhaps a wisp from Marilyn Monroe's blonde ambition. It's a bizarre relic of stardom that takes fandom to a whole new follicular level. Casually dropping, "Oh, and this is a piece of insert dead celebrity's hair," into a dinner party conversation is certainly one way to ensure you're never invited back. 39. Vintage medicine bottles. Before modern pharmaceuticals with their sleek packaging and lists of side effects longer than your arm, there were vintage medicine bottles. Tiny glass vials and ornate apothecary jars, promising miracle cures for everything from a mild cough to spontaneous combustion. Collectors are fascinated by these glimpses into the snake oil past, particularly the labels boasting "instant health" or "guaranteed vigor" in dramatic fonts. It's a hilarious and slightly alarming reminder of how far medical science has come and how gullible our ancestors apparently were. Just don't try any of the contents. 40. Board game pieces. Why bother with the tediousness of actually playing a board game when you can just collect its disembodied parts? Some enthusiasts focus solely on the tiny metal dogs from Monopoly, the oddly specific meeples from obscure German strategy games, or vintage Scrabble tiles with that satisfying clack. A rare, retired game piece can be the crown jewel of their collection, proving that sometimes the sum of the parts is far more interesting and less argument-inducing than the whole. It's a way to appreciate the craftsmanship without ever having to mortgage Park Place. 41. Vintage protest signs. These aren't just pieces of cardboard with angry slogans. They are raw, unfiltered history held aloft by passionate hands. Collectors of vintage protest signs seek out these powerful artifacts from pivotal moments: civil rights marches, anti-war demonstrations, environmental rallies. Each sign, whether crudely scrawled or artfully designed, is a tangible connection to social movements that shaped our world. For collectors, they're not just decorations. They're reminders of the power of a collective voice, and occasionally of some truly questionable font choices made in the heat of righteous indignation. 42. Keys that no longer open anything. In a world obsessed with utility, There's a quiet rebellion in collecting keys that are utterly, gloriously useless. These aren't just any old keys. They are orphans of forgotten locks, each one imbued by the collector with a fictional, often tragic backstory. This one, they might whisper, belonged to a lighthouse keeper who vanished at sea. Or, this unlocked a treasure chest that only contained regret. It's a celebration of obsolescence, a melancholic ode to doors that will never again swing open, and a testament to the human need to find meaning even in a defunct piece of metal. 43. Vintage clocks with odd shapes. Who said telling time had to be boring and round? Collectors of quirky clocks actively seek out timepieces shaped like startled cats, miniature grand pianos, chrome spaceships, or abstract blobs that defy easy categorization. These aren't just functional items, they're conversation-starting sculptures that happen to also prevent you from being late, sometimes. It's a celebration of the fun side of horology, proving that keeping track of the hours can be an adventure in eccentric design. Your minimalist friends might not get it, but who needs them when your mantelpiece is this entertaining? 44. Road signs. Now, before you call the authorities, these collectors aren't usually out in the dead of night with a wrench and a getaway van. They legally acquire decommissioned road signs from auctions or government surplus sales. Having a stop sign in your man cave is one thing, but imagine owning a weathered, bullet hole-ridden Route 66 marker. That's not just decor. It's a piece of American mythology, a silent storyteller of countless journeys and questionable roadside diners. It's a bold statement piece that says, I appreciate infrastructure and I have very strong walls. 45. Lottery tickets. Used, of course. For most, a used lottery ticket is a symbol of shattered dreams and wasted dollars. But for some, it's a miniature work of art. Collectors of losing lottery tickets aren't chasing a jackpot. They're appreciating the often surprisingly elaborate designs. States frequently issue tickets with special themes, holidays, sports teams, local cryptids, turning these slips of hopeful paper into colorful, ephemeral collectibles. Imagine a scrapbook meticulously filled with what could have been. It's a poignant, slightly sad, yet strangely beautiful tribute to optimism and terrible odds. 46. Embroidered patches. These colorful little squares of thread are more than just decorations. They're badges of honor, statements of identity, or mementos of adventures had, or wildly exaggerated. Collectors amass embroidered patches from military units, biker clubs, with names that would make your mother blush. National parks they may or may not have actually visited, or bands whose music peaked in 1978. Sewn onto denim jackets until they resemble wearable scrapbooks, or displayed in shadow boxes like tiny stitched trophies. Each patch tells a story, or at least hints at one. 47. Ceramic ashtrays. Once a ubiquitous household item, often found gracing every coffee table and bedside stand, the ceramic ashtray has become a nostalgic relic of a smokier, arguably more stylish past. Collectors hunt for vintage ashtrays from forgotten bars with hilariously suggestive names, swanky hotels that probably still smell faintly of cigars, and restaurants where the smoking section was everywhere. Bold logos, unique, often bizarre shapes, and that satisfying heft make these particularly hot items, especially those from the mid-century modern era. They're quirky, functional, for holding keys perhaps, and dripping with character. 48. Vintage asbestos. Warning signs. Nothing says charming collectible quite like a stark reminder of a slow, agonizing death, right? Yet, some people collect vintage asbestos warning signs. These relics from a less informed industrial past are seen as eerie but fascinating pieces of history, tangible evidence of how far safety standards have, thankfully, evolved. They're a macabre nod to a time when "it probably won't kill you" was an acceptable workplace risk assessment. Just, maybe don't hang one directly above your bed. It tends to dampen the mood. 49. Rocks that look uncannily like disgraced politicians. Forget Mount Rushmore, some collectors are curating their own pantheon of geological satire. These aren't just any interestingly shaped rocks. These are stones that bear an uncanny, often unflattering resemblance to public figures who've had a rather spectacular fall from grace. Imagine a shelf lined with pebbles that perfectly capture a specific jowl, a notorious sneer, or the bewildered expression of someone caught with their hand in the proverbial cookie jar. It's nature's way of saying, even I have a sense of humor about your political landscape, or perhaps it's just a sign the collector needs new glasses. All right, fess up. Which of these so-called collections made your skin crawl the most, or worse, sparked a tiny shameful flicker of, I kinda get it? Spill your darkest collecting secret or the most unhinged hoarding tale you've ever encountered in the comments below. We're building a support group here, or possibly an intervention list. And if this catalog of human oddity didn't completely scar you for life, consider smashing that subscribe button and giving the like a good, therapeutic whack. You've earned it.